Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, June 4th, and we are on the European account. We still have some things we needed some victories on the Asian account, but I guess I don't really need to get all three things done since we'll just do that on Wednesday. Right now, what have we got? We've got a 60 here with Hunter and Mage. We've got an overlap with Hunter, and we've got 2 victories with anything. So to get this, we would get this. To get this, with the Hunter, we would get this. So it probably makes sense to do this. This requires us victories in any mode, but we could do some of that somewhere else. So 3 games with Hunter and Mage now is what we're trying to do. Not too bad if we can actually get some victories, which, even though mid-range Hunter is one of these decks that actually can be done. I'm thinking it's probably time to get rid of the HS replay decks and build our own decks again. The truth is, they just haven't worked for over a month now. They did not give me crazy increased victory. Maybe they work for other people, but they are not working for me. Or maybe it is HS replay is just showing you the ones that a lot of people play, and because of that there's an incorrect BIOS there. We got a ton of news, so let's go keep on going. We have a game on Steam called Gunheart, which is an action indie violent VR game. It says it's an online co-op RPG where you and your friends shoot monsters or insects, it looks like. Giant humanoid insect fly creatures. But it's VR, but doesn't require VR? Let's see. That's the weirdness here, is that half these games don't label themselves right in one way or the other. Alright. 10 unique weapons, 40 plus weapon modifications, 9 campaigns, 11 challenge missions. Doesn't seem like it has too much for an online. VR players have a full suite of locomotion and comfort options. So you can play in VR, but you can also play without it. Let's see, there's 25 negative reviews versus 145 positive reviews. No servers for multiplayer, which I assume means no dedicated servers. Host advantage. Next not recommended says game's too broken to keep playing. What I did play of it wasn't at all that satisfying. Notably, the games are big guns and pea shooters. This is the only game where I've had issues with constant lag and reprojection. I didn't enjoy the game at all. I suppose that's a valid reason to write a review, is to say I just didn't enjoy it. It's not super well articulate, because that doesn't really tell people much. But if it's the truth, it's the truth. I do have to applaud this game, Gunheart, for at least going with giant humanoid fly-like creatures, which is not something we've seen. There's creatures like that in Resident Evil 4, and that's kind of it. So they are going in a different direction. But since this is really all online multiplayer, like, I don't see how I could justify playing this game. It says it's from the developers who brought you Halo and Gears of War and several other things, which I don't believe that's true. So now I've seen in the trailer them claiming that they had developers on a lot of other games, and yet I haven't heard about this game Gunheart from anybody, which makes me think, even though this game does look good, that they've lied to me. So I'm gonna close Gunheart for that reason, on top of the fact that it is frankly an online game. Next game we have on Steam is called Bullet Line. It's a 4v4 asset flip shooter game, and top-down twin stick shooter style, placing you in some random areas that are just asset flips. So there's nothing here that interests me. It's $14.99, and boy is that expensive. So I'm just gonna close that. I don't think any more investigation needs to be done. TechRaptor has an article. TechRaptor's Guide to Watching E3 2018 from home. Let's see. So, let's see. I don't know how they've done this. I guess what they've done is they've shifted. They have this picture that's just shifted everything for you. So for Central Time, which is what I work off of, at 1 p.m. the EA press conference happens, and then 3 p.m. the next day, and then 8:30 p.m. the next day, and then at 3 p.m. and 8:30, that's 3 p.m. is Microsoft, and then Bethesda, and let's do this. This and then let's see, at noon on Monday there is Square Enix, and then at 3 p.m. there's Ubisoft, and then at 5 p.m. Monday there's the PC Gaming Show, which I don't think I particularly care to stream. And at 8 p.m. there's Sony, and then on Tuesday there at 11 a.m. is the Nintendo video presentation. So inherently I know I'm not doing Nintendo. Like, screw Nintendo. They're not going to be covering any PC games, and they're going to content ID everything. So forget that. And I don't think I'm doing the PC Gamer show, because I don't, unless I just have nothing better to do. But this does put us in a weird position where for the June the 9th, the Saturday, to Monday, June the 11th, throughout that entire day, I'm going to be taking this weird semi-vacation in which I am I'm going to try and
That's not a valid target.
and yeah, what am come on. I'm gonna be taking this weird semi-vacation in which I'm gonna be covering things like EA stream. So there's gonna be a lot of going up and going down for all of that. I suppose we will probably try and schedule all of these live streams to start at those times, so there is a chance that I will schedule things and people will be waiting for my stream to start and I'll just be asleep. Apologies. I'm gonna preemptively apologize for that because that's very possible amongst plus things that could happen. Let's see. Let's go ahead and kill this and this. Attack here and then return. Let's see. The EA thing will be on the EA's Twitch stream, which will be a little bit odd. The Xbox will be on Xbox's Twitch stream. Bethesda will be on Bethesda's Twitch stream. Square Enix will be on Square Enix Twitch stream. So I think everything's coming through Twitch this year. The only one that is coming through YouTube is Square Enix Presents YouTube and Nintendo YouTube. So let's see. All of the events will be streamed via the Twitch account and the E3 2018 website. So if we just follow Twitch's own Twitch account, then I won't have to do any real major effort to switch between different possible I've lost. Darn you game. Screw me over yet again.
I moves quickly.
So yeah, I'll be able to set up streaming of just the Twitch account to YouTube, which sure, why not? And then maybe I'll do something fancier than that, but I don't know if I really am. Like, I think a lot of my effort to switch back and forth really didn't add anything to it. And if I did like a border or something where around the edges it said E3 or Rydo or something like that, then it's just gonna clip off parts of the video for not great reasons.
Your magic shall not save you.
So yeah, it's gonna be mostly just a basic thing. I'm thinking maybe I'll have some text out and I'll try to make some notes. If I could type in notes on what was announced at E3 and see how good I am at that, which I'm probably not going to be that good. You might see on one side it just says previously announced in a catch-up to allow for that. I'm just going to switch ahead to casual for victories. I know I've only lost once this far, but that was a long game, and all these games are too long. I kind of wish Hearthstone would go down to like 10 health points. Just give me a mode where you win in the first 5 turns. Or change your daily quests. That's really all they need to do, is just change the daily quests so they stop requiring victories. Let losers like me not bang my head against the wall. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article, Fear of the Reaper, Activision sunsetting Guitar Hero TV later this year. Guitar Hero TV was this weird issue where they were streaming music that you could play along with instead of you purchasing the music for a way of, I guess, getting around licensing negotiations they didn't want to do. However, now they've still, probably for licensing reasons, are shutting that down, so the system didn't work that well in the first place. Inherently, the only way any Guitar Hero game, anything like that, is going to work is on the full admittance and acceptance that the US music copyright system is broken, and you need to just allow people to upload their own music into the game and make their own thing, because people have MP3s all over the place and they want to play their songs. And with the power of AI and cloud computing, I see no reason why it would be even difficult to have a cloud computing analyze an MP3 song, spit out a track with some buttons to match that music. I doubt that even requires cloud computing, and just be done with it. Meanwhile, Beat Saber is doing very good. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Dark Days of Horror. This one looks kind of like a garbage asset flip, and it is a garbage asset flip for $34.99. Wow. They're trying to sneak in these terrible games right before E3. Wow. $100 to list a game to try and get a third of that back immediately on one sale. I suppose that is a question, is how many suckers do you really think are on Steam? Why not $100 to list your game and then set the price as $100 for one sale to make that money back, in two sales to make you $100. Next game we have on Steam, since obviously nobody cares about that one, is called Sorcery Saga: Curse of the Great Curry God. This is from Idea Factory, which I believe is a bigger developer. It's an action RPG strategy anime JRPG fantasy game. I believe we've even seen some coverage of this game. So it is still a JRPG game. It's got some cutesiness to it, but it is mostly dungeon crawling with a mix of cooking food and making curry as items that you use, if I'm reading the screenshots correctly. This is 40% off for $11.99, and it has 4 positive reviews and 1 negative review. And it says it's not recommended for diabetic folks. It was released on my birthday. It was the best cake I could have asked for. So it's a joke, not helpful. Like, was this helpful? No. And then when I click no, it says log in, so forget that. So I'm not sure I'm really in the market for a out there unrelated JRPG game. On the other hand, this might be a bit simpler and not as extremely long as Final Fantasy. Idea Factory is the people who publish things like Hyperdimension Neptunia and Mugen Souls, the developer for that. So they're a known item from making Japanese games, and so this is one that I guess I can wishlist, and I'll have to just evaluate. Do I want to play a maybe shorter JRPG that isn't connected into a larger universe that I feel like I would be committed into continuing? If I play Final Fantasy 1, for example, I feel like I have to play all 15 of the Final Fantasy games. Whereas if I was to play something that is a standalone game, Ni no Kuni might be a better version of that, but Ni no Kuni 1 I don't believe is on Steam. That would be the target equivalent game that I'd like to play, though, is Ni no Kuni 1, because I know that's Ghibli-esque animation designed for younger kids, and so it's going to be a simpler JRPG. Moving on, we've got a Your Gamer article, the bizarre story behind the first non-Valve game on Steam, told by someone called Chris Bratt. Let's see. The game was Doll Kung Fu, a fighting game created mainly by Mark Hensley while working for favorable developer Lionhead Studios in the early 2000s. That's in my turn. The video reveals how Hensley went on to co-found Little Big Planet maker Media Molecule, found himself demoing the side project to a huge crowd of game developers at the Game Developer Conference, and just a day later accepting $10,000 from Valve boss Gabe Newell to secure Ragdoll Kung Fu release on Steam in 2005. And I imagine the point here is that the point here is that Gabe Newell wanted to release anything on Steam that was non-Valve at the Game Developer Conference, and he kind of just picked that game. Interesting. Your Gamer has this new thing at the bottom of their articles. It says games in this article, and that's interesting.
Let the hunt begin.
So I'm gonna try and search Ragdoll Kung Fu on Steam. It says it was released October 12th on 2005. It's mixed reviews with 56 of 21 users giving it positive. And let's see what this is. It kind of doesn't look like much of anything. And it's single player and multiplayer. It's $9.99. Metacritic 69%. And so there might be historical reason to purchase this game. But
none will survive.
Yeah, there might be a reason to wishlist this game, but for most people I think you pretty much ignore that. And sadly, the Eurogamer article there is not really telling you the story, it's just linking to the video and I don't have an ability to watch a video and listen to somebody tell whatever bizarrely ridiculous story they want to tell. I suppose this is the beginning of nostalgia for the good old days of Valve and Steam. I guess the good old days for Steam was when the interface was very new and there was very few games on it, and now the interface is moderately improved and it's flooded with games. I think I like the modern Steam way better than any previous version. In fact, I think I'm enjoying very well the new Discovery 2.0 features. There is also a point that I was thinking about just yesterday about how much better Amazon.com is for shopping for a product than trying to find a product on Google Shopping. It's just nowhere the same experience. Where Google is perfectly fine for finding web pages, for finding things to purchase, it just doesn't work. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article: God of War 3, Nier, that would be Nier 1, Uncharted 2 are progressing well on PC with the PlayStation 3 emulator. Plus, also taken Tag Team Tournament 2 and Beyond Good and Evil HD and more. So the PS3 emulator that is out there is getting better and better, and I doubt it's gonna come down to a point where they're just gonna say every single game is at 100%. But I imagine just whenever you got into it. So if you get into running the PlayStation 3 emulator right now, I think you'll just see improvements very consistently going forward, and every now and then you'll have an announcement of this game is running very well now, we fixed most of the bugs. It's the Scum VM emulator is very similar, where if the programmers spend the extra effort to make sure a game runs very well, it will be close to 100% perfect emulation within 1 or 2 releases of the beginning of their effort. Otherwise, the game might be in a very early beta alpha stage where, yes, the game technically runs in the emulator, but it's not really accomplishing anything you'd expect it to be able to do.
I hunt alone.
Kill that one. Next game we have on Steam is called Avalon Legends Solitaire 3. It's a solitaire game with a fantasy on top of it, fantasy element. It's one of the match cards solitaire games that seem to be slightly more popular than they should be on Steam. It's 10% off for $8.99. I doubt anybody's reviewed it. There's frankly too many solitaire games out there, and too many of them are literally just the same thing over and over again. This developer has a whole collection of fantasy themed card games and simple games that frankly just don't catch my attention for the $6.99, or is it $8.99? Yeah, it's $8.99 with 10% off. Just way too expensive.
The dogs out.
Playing. Next game we have on Steam is called Heroes of Offworld Arena. It looks like a attempt at a first-person shooter in like the vein of Quake Arena. However, the graphics also look like they are from that same time as Quake Arena, early 80s, not very good. Lots of language support: German, simplified Chinese, Portuguese, and Russian. $8.99. I don't think anybody is going to be interested in that. So let's close that tab. Let's see, do we have a silence?
Your magic shall not save you.
In turn, next game we have is called Sail Ships. It too does not look visually good. Very flat, simplistic textures. Makes it look like it's painted. Well, it makes it look like it's made with the beginnings of some kind of programming interface without actual textures on anything. It's just not pretty. So let's see how much that is. And skip $1.99, not worth that much. Gamma Sutra has an article preparing a Windows 10 computer to be a permanent arcade installation. This is probably just a... Well, it's talking about setting the computer up to not install updates, to not... Which, not auto-installing updates is like an insane thought. It's software stuff that they're mostly talking about. Yeah, the vast majority of this article is all just setting up software settings. It's not talking about, oh, how are you building the arcade controls, how are you building the wood frame, what hardware, what software.
Let the hunt begin.
This is interesting because the Gamma Sutra lets you post any article pretty much if you're even slightly an important person in the video game industry. The first part of this is, this was originally posted on my Tumblr. It's just linking to his own Tumblr page. I really don't know what the state of Tumblr ever was or is right now. It could be that nobody's on it, could be that nobody important's on it, could be that there's nobody on it that you want to hear from. So there's it's never been a service that I've really used. Yes, I have a Tumblr account in case it's something other people use, and obviously a few people use it, but frankly the same is true for Facebook. It's not something I'm really using for my videos. Also, my Twitch account is finally caught up, so now it will just be automatically showing videos from YouTube. So yay for that, I suppose. But I think I would need as many, if not more, followers on Twitch to be monetized there as I do on YouTube. Maybe it would be better to put effort into doing that, but I'm not ready to make that leap. Moving on, there's a game on Steam called Rockshot. It's mostly negative, with 35% of 53 users giving a positive review. It seems to be a free-to-play. It looks like it's trying to be Fortnite. So it's in English and German. We've seen a lot of more German games or German language support. It says it's early access, free-to-play, so why do people hate it? Bad hit detection, non-stop lag, clunky UI, needs work at best, is the first not recommended. review. Next one I see it says not worth your time. Next one says fix your network servers don't work. So network issues to the extreme. So we can close that. Not that I was going to play a Fortnite-like clone anyways. And, next game we have is a game called Corpse Mob. Seems like it's a twin-stick shooter shooting zombies. Arcade game. I could kind of see what I'm supposed to be doing here. But the graphics don't look great. It's a little bit too close to MS Paint level graphics. A lot of stuff going on the screen. A lot of green on green because the grass is green, and then there's like green mists of goo on top of that. This game's at $1.99, and yeah, I just don't like the way it looks. Could have been a good game though. The concept is not inherently flawed. Let's see. Do this. And in the turn. Gamatsu has an article that's Bandai Namco trademarks Enteria, E-N-T-E-R-T-E-R-I-A in Australia. And the only other thing they have to say is the company has yet to announce a game with that title or subtitle. So, Interterria. I really can't get anything from that name, so let's move on. Is a Chinese game that's in Chinese. It's VR, can't pronounce the name, nor is it in English, so who cares. It said earlier I didn't filter any of the games today, so obviously we're going to run into some of those. Just keep on attacking. Next game we have on Steam is called Meow Motors, which is kids in cat outfits, it seems, doing Mario Kart racing style stuff. The animation in the trailer looks good. The screenshots look alright. Maybe it's not kids. Maybe it's human cats. I guess maybe it is human cats. I misinterpreted kids in cats outfits because the cats have the cats have helmets with ears, and I thought, oh, the helmet with ears was the cat elf outfit. But now that I think about it some more, it makes more sense that they are cats to start off with. Nothing looks bad here. It has single player and no online, which that kind of sucks. It's in English and Russian, which is questionable, but I'm not going to inherently knock it out of the game just because it's in Russian. It's $19.99. The 13 positive reviews, 0 negative reviews. So this is a game that has to go on my wish list. I'm kind of stretching here to see if maybe this is a scam game. It's the first game from this developer, and he's self-publishing, so like there's nothing I can take from this. It's 100% positive for 10 user reviews. So despite my best efforts of not wanting to believe, I kind of have to believe and wishlist this Meow Motors. Eventually, I am going to get probably just one Mario Kart game on Steam. that works. Arguably, Rocket League is and should be in that game, even though Rocket League is doing something slightly different from a Mario Kart game. It is the most popular, most played thing that I could think of. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. The Otome visual novels by the names Sanzen Seikai Yugi and Koshin Tegai no Hashihime are coming to the PlayStation Vita. So 2 new Otome ports are coming to Vita, probably only in Japan. I'm not sure I understand what the phrase Otome means, whether that's a brand or whether that's a style.
I wonder.
I don't know. Maybe I should just search YouTube and learn. Let's see. Okay.
I
Zoom
wonder.
in. An Otome game, literally maiden game, is a story-based video game that is targeted towards women. Generally, one of its goals besides the main plot goal is to develop a romantic relationship between the female player character and several of the male game players. Alright, so now I know. And knowing is half the battle. So, yeah. I was kind of leaning towards thinking that might be the case. Well, I think Otome probably also boils down to older woman looking for older male partners, because there really isn't in anime a lot of a market for young girls looking for new models, young males. There's probably a bigger market for older women looking for young male suitors. Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Terra Battle 2 North American version to shut down on September 3rd. Hironobu Sakaguchi apologized for the unexpected struggles. This probably, if I was to guess, is a cell phone game. I didn't play that for very long. I should have put this over there, but none of that mattered. Let's see. Yes. Once removed from the Android iOS store, the app cannot be reinstalled after deletion. Should you intend to continue playing until shutdown, please be careful not to delete the app by mistake. If you have not updated to the latest version before the app was removed from Android, then you may not be able to play past this date. So, finally got one victory. Try for number 2. Customer support will no longer be offered because it's being shut down. I guess that makes sense. Not even knowing what Terra Battle 2 is, I assume it's some kind of card collection monster battle match 3 game like they all seem to be. But this might be the beginning of a movement that wouldn't be great, but it doesn't really affect me too much either. If this is the realization that those Korean and Japanese cell phone games don't sell, that is probably fine. I'd prefer people to make full price, or at least some pay at the front instead of microtransaction things. Notice this game is shutting down and it's not saying anything about the GDPR. It's not saying anything like that. It's just this game was not selling in the West because the West had never heard of it. And it is basically what I'm taking from that. Yeah, I'd like to see game developers make PC games, console games. I don't want to see anybody making cell phone games. Like, we've got enough cell phone games, and it's not like there's a thriving marketplace there. Frankly, I guess we need to drain the swamp, to use a phrase, as far as the Apple Store and the iOS Store, and just let everybody that is making games stop making games and stop wasting people's time. And then maybe in the next generation we'll have good quality games that people are willing to pay for. That was another reason why the Square Enix canceled the Go series. Warcraft Go, Hitman Go, Tomb Raider Go. Like, they just said there was no market to sell a premium cell phone game at all. So, you know, the cell phone market right now is not a good market for selling video games. It's flooded with too many fakes. Apple and Google both have failed to stop people from having fakes. Right now there's a ton of scam ads and scam games that are like Android Fortnite beta access if you install this application, and it's always a scam. It's always a lie. Moving on, we have an article from Gamatsu. Bullet Girls Fantasia has a 5-minute trailer. So this is primarily just for me. Apparently Bullet Girls Fantasia is coming to PS4 and Vita. No, not 100% sure if they're coming to the West. No, they're coming out August 9th in Japan and Southeastern Asia. They misspelled Asia. They put 2 S's with English subtitles. So this is one of those games that has destructible clothing, I immediately see. And so this is why this is not coming out to the West, is because they don't want to be in the center of controversy when selling their explodable clothing sex game. I like the trailer to improve itself a little bit here and show me more actual content of the gameplay, because right now it's just talking to the screen, which is probably explaining things. Seems like what the real game is you're playing as one of several characters running around and shooting things, or driving a tank and shooting things. And then of course the now almost completely standard groping simulator mini games. They're making taking a lot of time in a trailer to show the same groping simulator mini game. That's all it is. That's all it is. Like, when you have 5 minutes of your 10-minute trailer is showing off the groping simulator minigame, I guess they know their market, or they think they know their market at least, which is probably not wrong. So yeah, Bullet Girls Fantasia, import that if that interests you, but frankly I wouldn't recommend it. Here we have a pop-up about what's new in iOS 12, deprecation of OpenGL-ES. Apps built using OpenGL-ES will continue to run on iOS 12, but OpenGL-ES is deprecated in iOS 12. Games and graphics-intensive apps that previously used OpenGL-ES should now adopt Metal. Metal is designed from the ground up to provide the best access to the modern GPUs on iOS, macOS, and tvOS devices, Metal avoids the overhead inherent in legacy technologies and exposes the latest graphics processes. Functionality. Unified support for graphics and compute in Metal lets your apps efficiently utilize the latest rendering technologies. For information about developing apps and games using Metal, see the developer documentation for Metal, Metal Performance Shaders, and Metal Kit. So, of course, from one end, you probably are thinking, well, that must not be that hard to switch from OpenGL ES to Metal. It's incredibly hard. Most game developers are not making the game rendering video engine. The big ones, the AAA people, might be doing some of that, but usually it's in a completely different department. The vast majority of people, though, that are using Unity or Unreal now have to go put in the plugins, reprogram everything, retest everything, and it's just not going to be done. And the fear, I guess, is that iOS 13 will simply not support OpenGL ES at all. And it wouldn't be the first time for an Apple product to make something perform worse to sell you something new. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are drivers that get released that make OpenGL ES games run worse than they used to, much like the battery throttling that they finally admitted to doing, and they'd been doing that for pretty much since day one of the first Apple product, and people were claiming it was happening and they were just denying it. Or not commenting. Gamasutra has an article, Get a Job, Deep Silver Volition is hiring for a senior system designer. I'm not sure if I've covered this job several times or if they're all just blurring together nowadays. So if you want to work in Champaign, Illinois for Deep Silver Volition, let's see, I kind of want to know who Deep Silver Volition, like what did they work on? Let's go ahead and just take the victory.
Shall not save me.
And move on. Let's see. Deep Silver is a premier developing studio and creators of critically acclaimed Saints Row, Red Faction, and Descent / Free Space series. Okay. So yeah, I knew I had heard of Deep Silver. I was just trying to figure out where from. Let's see, we need one more hunter victory, which it would be really nice to get a ranked hunter victory, but yeah, we'll try this. That way we have a little bit more to do. Rock Paper Shotgun haven't talked about one of their articles in quite a while. Has an article called Planet X3 is a brand new CGA DOS game in development. One, I don't care about games that are being kickstarted like this one, or games that are in development, and I certainly don't care about games being made as a CGA DOS game, which arguably, looking at the color palette I'm seeing, this does not look like CGA graphics in the first place. This is like 256 colors XGA type game. I don't even know what to call it, it's been so long. PC Gamer has an article. For over a decade, a bug on Steam meant someone could take over your PC. Don't worry, it's fixed now. The remote code execution as a descriptor for a bug is a pretty typical one. It's a very bad one, certainly, but clearly what we saw here is it was never actually used as far as anybody knows, and it did not turn everybody with Steam installed into like a DDoS or so a lot of times these stories are just blown up and over exaggerated as in, yes, this could have happened, but it didn't, and there may have been very good reasons why it didn't that aren't getting mentioned. So it's kind of a non-story. There was a bug in Steam automatically fixed it. That's the same thing Windows does all the time. Next game we have on Steam is called Cereal Soup. It's rated mostly negative at 39% of 82 user reviews. It says it's an early access, free-to-play, massively multiplayer RPG. And it seems like you play as a wolf or dog with a funny painted face. And I like that concept, but all of the graphics look bad. Look really, really bad.
Your magic shall not save you.
Seems like there's several other kinds of animals. It's like almost a MMO where people are playing as animals, like a furry. And Cereal Soup feels like it's something like Butterfly Soup, or trying to be similar to this. Let's see what some of the negative reviews are. Let's see. One negative review says the tutorial doesn't work. One negative review is can't create a can't know if it was created. Here we have a negative review. Every username is supposedly taken. So there's like a login automatically, and the login seems to be completely broken. Yeah, so many negative reviews just because you can't log in. Wow. That is a new one for the list, I suppose, of things to not do when making your free-to-play game, is don't make it impossible for people to log in without to not log in. I think for an early access game you need by default a skip an account, don't create an account feature, and then just warn your progress won't be saved. Yeah, Cereal Soup. I don't think anybody's gonna bother to play it, and it's free to play, so it's not really like it's a product that I'm interested in the first place. Hit this one once. PC Gamer has an article where the water tastes like wine has added 15 more stories and automatic walking. So the automatic walking, I think, fixes some stuff. 15 more stories also adds something, but I think inherently where the water tastes like wine as a game, as a concept, just failed to intrigue people. So it's probably, I don't want to say too little too late, because I think almost anything is too little too late. You need to, I think they probably needed to get rid of the entire walking element whatsoever. They needed to just have more of a almost text-based story experience going on, where you could talk to somebody, tell them a story, interact with that one person, and then you're just shown to a map, and when you click on a point in the map, you go to another area instantaneously. And I'm not sure that the game has voice acting, so I'm not sure if a lot of that game is spending a lot of effort to read, which certainly would kill it for me. But it certainly was an interesting idea that didn't get anywhere. It probably fails as a game because of its really doesn't have any gameplay mechanics, and would have been better as a interactive storytelling experience. Let's see. PC Gamer also has an article called Indie Hard Mode, the couples making games together. We spoke to the creators of Cultist Simulator, Regency Solitaire, Overland, and more about the challenges of collaborating with your partners. This inherently, without even reading this article, which I'm not going to bother to read, can be spoken of and summed up. I'm sure they will. The right response, whatever this article says, is you can either have a partner or you can have a romantic partner. You can have a business partner or you can have a romantic partner. One of those relationships is going to suffer. So if you don't care about having a romantic relationship with your romantic partner, then this would probably not even be the best way to break that up. And if you don't care about having a business partner and would prefer to have a romantic partner, then you probably shouldn't involve them in the work much at all. Humans in general are very much our days are designed to be split up between you go to work for 8 hours, you come home and deal with family for the rest of it, and hopefully you have enough of a family support system that it's not dealing with work, it's not getting away from your rotten family, and hopefully, but probably not likely, you're not just complaining to your family about your work the whole time. Try to keep things separate and compartmentalized. There is certainly a desire to mix the two, but to quote Ghostbusters, don't cross the streams. It's a bad idea. I guess unless unless, like I said, you don't care about your romantic relationship. So, and you're just using your spouse. Probably shouldn't have tried to play rank there. Come to think of it, we've now gone 2 hours, and this is a good time to break up. I need one more victory with the hunter, I believe, and maybe some more victories in some other modes that I can get pretty easily by playing the solo adventures Monster Hunt. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.